Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hello, I'm Kate Toon.
And I'm Jesse Forrest.
And welcome to Write for Business. This is the show that teaches you the right words to attract more sales, leads, and customers into your business. And today, we're talking blog posts. We're going to give you our top 10 tips on writing blog posts easily and quickly.
That came up in just a moment, but before we begin, Kate, I hear that you're traveling to Paris soon. What do you hope to do in Paris?
Well, we're just going to chill out, try a few baguettes, and just, breathe in the Paris atmosphere.
Nice.
Be a nice place to spend Christmas. Okay, let's get started. We're going to talk about blog posts today. So here are my tips on how to write blog posts in 10 easy steps. Now, I know that a lot of people know that blogging is important, but I just thought it might be worth going through the reasons why it's super important. So many businesses are concerned that having a blog is a big commitment. I don't know if you find that with your clients.
Yeah, I get asked about it all the time.
Yeah.
Blogging is, content marketing, it's important.
It's
Sure.
important. So people have heard the hype that they need to do content marketing, they should be posting regular blogs, but it just feels like a whole lot of work. But the truth is, it's kind of vital for your business success. You need to have fresh content on your site if you want Google to be coming back and visiting it again and again. And also for your humans as well, your customers. They don't want to come to a site that's never changed, that has nothing new on it. So fresh content is an important part of SEO, a part of marketing in general. Also, having blog posts gives you content to share on social media. So it gives you things to talk about. Here's our latest blog. You can share little bits of it. And finally, it's a really great way to position yourself as an authority. So perhaps you're a lawyer or a chiropractor and you're really wanting to show that you know your subject really well. Well, blogging is a great way of doing that. Do you find the same thing?
Absolutely. I've got a video blog.
You love your vlogging.
I love my vlogging and, sharing tips through that. So video posts on your website could be, let's say that you transcribe could be a form of blogs, is that right?
Yeah, and we're going to cover off video marketing in a couple of episodes, so we'll get to that as well.
Awesome.
Okay, so there's a little picture of me. This is a really important point I want to make. My area of expertise is kind of SEO and search engine optimization and making Google love your website. So the way I like to put it to my clients is that every blog post you create is like another ticket in the SEO lottery. Do you like that analogy?
I love that analogy.
Yeah, so imagine you've got your lottery tickets and you write a phrase or a subject or a topic on that lottery ticket and you toss it into the tombola, is that what it's called?
Sure.
Well, the more tickets you have, the more chances you have of winning, of getting that ranking success. So every fresh piece of content gives you another opportunity. That's just my little way of saying it. But before we get started, there's lots of things we must do before we get started. The first one, which we always talk about, is understand your audience. We've touched on that in pretty much every episode. Mm-hmm. But unless you understand what your audience is interested in, how can you write for them? And the next thing is to do your keyword research. And we are going to have an episode on SEO copywriting, so we'll talk a bit more about that then. But basically, you need to have an idea or a topic. How do you go about choosing your topics?
I think it's really interesting. In fact, this morning I was using a website called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Quora?
Quora, yeah.
Quora.
Quora, yeah.
Quora.com.
Yeah.
And I love it because it's people post questions in there and then the community answers and then also the community votes on what they believe is the best answer.
Yeah, that's a great little
And I
tool.
typed in copywriting this morning and also copywriters and I found all these really interesting questions that I could easily then go and create blog posts or video content about. So
exactly.
That's probably more of a less technical way of doing research, but I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it is very true. And, keywords don't necessarily have to be single words. They can be phrases, they can be questions, they can be statements. We'll touch a bit more on that in the SEO copywriting episode, so we'll come back to that. But at least have an idea, have a topic, have something you want to talk about. The other really important thing to do is do your competitor research. So, you don't want to write a blog post that's been written 1,000 times before, unless you can add real value to it. But also, it's a good idea to check out what your competitors are writing about, to see which posts have been most successful. And then perhaps you can kind of take that idea and write an even better blog post. It's called the skyscraper technique, where someone's made a pretty good blog post, but then you rewrite or come up with your own version of it, and you add a couple more levels of awesomeness on top. And a great tool to use to do that is BuzzSumo. I don't know if you've used that one before.
I have used it. I thought it was amazing for getting...
Great.
I mean, what exactly is BuzzSumo? How does it help people?
I think we have a slide coming up. I'll have to have a check. I think I have. I'll have to know. But if, in simple terms, what it does is it shows you which posts have been posted recently, and then it shows you the social count of how many people have liked and shared that post on Facebook, Twitter, Google, whatever. So clearly, the ones that have had the most social shares are the most popular posts. So that's a really, really helpful way of kind of having a look at a few of your competitors and saying, well, hey, they're all kind of, or no one has posted about this subject, or they're kind of posting about these things. Maybe we could post about that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's really important. We've talked about the distinction between content writing and copywriting before, but I think even content writing needs to have a goal. It might not be an exact sales conversion goal, but you have to have an idea of what you're hoping that blog will do. Will it build your authority? Will it drive traffic to your site? Will it give you ranking? Generate leads. There's nothing wrong with a blog post having a little bit of a salesy bit at the bottom that drives leads as well. So
yeah, absolutely. And Kate, I've seen people do it where they write, let's say, a blog post about 10 tips for doing something, achieving something.
Yeah.
Let's say 10 tips for growing better tomatoes or tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
And then at the bottom, they might say, if you want to download this blog post, or if you want to download this as a PDF, enter your details. And it seems like they're generating a database from just one blog post.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But I think there's also, which I think is very powerful, is when you read those how-to posts and it's like, here's how you do this thing, and there's screenshots and videos, and at the bottom it's kind of like, but if you don't have the time to do this thing, we can do this thing for you, you know? Because often you kind of go and research how to, I don't know, bake a cake, and then at the bottom you're like, oh, I could just order one. Awesome. You know, so I think that can work as well, you know? So we didn't have a slide of BuzzSumo. I forgot to put that in. Hey, never mind. We can move straight into step one.
Yes.
So what we're going to do now is take you through 10 steps, very simple steps on how to create a blog post, because it can feel a bit overwhelming if you haven't done one before. So my first step is decide your format. And we talked a little bit about this in our headline episode, if you remember, like different approaches to headlines. But I think there are heaps of different types of blog posts that you can do. But the main ones I generally do are editorial. So it's just kind of like a piece, an article about a particular subject, maybe an opinion piece. I like to do how-to ones. I love my how-to ones. How to write a press release, how to whatever. I love list posts. So these 10 ways to do whatever, 6 ways to do whatever. Curated content is a really easy one.
I love that idea of created content. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically all this involves is, maybe you've read 6 great posts about social media and you bring them together and have an intro and an outro, and you've helped the reader because they don't have to go and visit 50 different sites. It's all there for them. These are the top picks.
Sure. And then is another way to do it. You credit some of the, let's say it's top 10 tips for writing a blog post.
Yes.
And then you might credit different authors where you research that information from, which gives a link back to their site, and then maybe you tweet them and tell them that they're featured.
Well, for me, that one's ego bait.
Oh, that's ego bait. Sorry,
Yes.
I've
No,
jumped
that's fine.
It's
a way of doing it. So, ego bait is where you apply or kind of hook into someone's ego. So if I write a post about Jesse Forrest and his amazing tips, or if I say here are the 10 best copywriters in Australia, and I include you in that list and 9 other copywriters, and I tell you all, well, you're going to tweet that because you've been included in this amazing list.
Sure.
And obviously maybe you include yourself as number 2 or whatever. But that basically, ego bait can be, as you said, tips from different people's articles, crediting them, linking them, tweeting them. It can be interviews, can be FAQs, video interviews, or even just straight lists of websites, but anything that kind of is going to lure that person in to share. So my husband has a French business, Voulez-Vouloz, and we often do posts about, say, the top 10 French restaurants in Melbourne, and they're that they then share our post, and the love is spread.
Yes.
You know?
Totally.
Another idea is newsjacking. So newsjacking is where you take a current event and you kind of write something around it, whether it's a commentary on that piece of news or you kind of loosely use it for your piece. So, for example, we could be writing the Game of Thrones guide to copywriting, or how Donald Trump taught me to be a better copywriter.
And Donald Trump, it seems like every
He's in every single blog in the world.
Is hijacking it because he's such a polarizing figure and, you know, so interesting, like, even to watch, you know.
Yeah, and if you can have that kind of strangeness of your subject matter, like accountancy and Donald Trump, and tie them together, it can be quite fun. So we touched on that a bit in the headline episode. And
to continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.